What's up guys, AD back with another Goddess of Victory Nikke video here, and in today's video everyone we are going to be analyzing our sniper supporter in Dolla. So I've been thinking about starting some unit spotlight videos here on the channel and thought it would be a ton of fun. So the unit I chose for the first episode here would be none other than Dolla. So in this series we'll be analyzing the unit's pros and cons, as well as suggesting their skill prioritization, their wisdom cube, and of course we'll also be providing some team synergies that'll really make the unit shine and place them in the spotlight. So if you're interested in more of these unit spotlight videos, make sure to leave a like on this video, as well as be sure to subscribe to the channel and let me know in the comments section below what I could add to these videos to make them even better, as well as if you've enjoyed. Now to get started here, of course we do have Dolla here, our supporter sniper. Now we'll get started with the pros about Dolla. Now first up, Dolla is a sniper class, so she'll work very well against enemies of long range. Secondly, she happens to be a great support that works very well with really any team due to the burst cooldown reduction from her skill 2, in which we'll talk about in just a bit. Now for the third pro here of Dolla, she increases attack of all allies from her skill 1, and she also increases attack, critical rates, and critical damage to all allies from her skill 2, depending on how many times you activate her burst skill. Now for the cons here of Dolla that I've found, she is a supporter character, so it'd be a bit hard to stat manipulate her into being the highest attack for certain buffs, that we'll mention later. Secondly, she happens to be a sniper, so she may not perform very well in battles that may consist of short-ranged enemies. Now moving on to the skill prioritization, everyone. As for Dolla here, you should pretty much only prioritize the skill 2 of her kit, as it will be great alongside really any type of Nikke here. As we can see here, Dolla's skill 2 does happen to reduce the cooldown of burst skills by a certain amount of seconds, depending on how many times full burst is activated. So if you do happen to activate full burst 1 here, she will reduce the cooldown of burst skills by 1.82 seconds. If you activate full burst twice, she will reduce burst skill cooldowns by 2.2 seconds, and 3 times here she will reduce the cooldown of burst skills by 2.8 seconds. Now of course these cooldown reduction times are based on the level 2 skill of Dolla. As for the second skill that you'll prioritize, it would definitely have to be her skill 1, in which this increases the attack of all allies, but I'd still consider this skill to be far lower of a priority compared to the benefits of her skill 2. Next up here, everyone, we have Dolla's wisdom cube. Now for her wisdom cube, I've found the onslaught cube to be the best so far, as it increases charge damage. So if you guys don't happen to have this one already, it can be obtained from sector 2. So if you're really trying to make Dolla shine, make sure to grab this cube as soon as possible. Now I'm sure there will be better options down the line other than the onslaught cube, so make sure to keep that in mind. Next up here, everyone, will discuss some units that'll work well alongside Dolla if you're really trying to place her in the spotlight. Now please make sure to take notes that these recommendations throw the meta pretty much out of the window for the most part, and we'll mention characters that'll make our featured character really shine their best damage wise. As mentioned previously, Dolla is a great support for nearly any team and typically won't lead the charts in damage, etc., but with the suggestions she just made. Now this will lead us into our first unit that should work very well alongside Dolla, which would happen to be Admi. So Admi here does happen to be another sniper rifle supporter, which will lead us into her skill set, in which why it is so amazing alongside snipers like Dolla. Now Admi seems to be a great fit alongside Dolla due to her ability to increase charge damage, reloading speed, and of course critical damage for all allies. Now Admi's burst buff here will come in handy if you're up against a stage that poses far distance enemies, in which you'll need to run a sniper Nikke. As we can see here, Admi's burst skill Love Returned affects all allies and will increase reloading speed by a certain percentage and time, as well as critical damage up by a certain percentage and time. Now like I mentioned previously, Admi's skill set also does increase charge damage by a certain percentage, as we can see here based on her skill 1 Helping Hand, which increases charge damage by a certain percentage for all allies after Admi's been attacked 20 times. Now of course Admi is also a great burst 2 unit alongside snipers, since Dolla's burst doesn't do too much outside of damage. So if you're really trying to make her shine, definitely take Admi into consideration. Next up here, everyone, for our second unit that may work well alongside Dolla that isn't too popular would have to be Maxwell. Now Maxwell is another character that may work well alongside Dolla and other snipers due to her skill 1, which increases charge speed and attack up by a certain percentage. As we can see here, this does activate when entering full burst, and it affects 2 allies with the highest attack, which will increase their charge speed by a certain percentage, as well as their attack by a certain percentage. Now this affects the 2 allies with the highest attack, so you need to have Dolla's attack stat up significantly, and I could honestly see why Maxwell isn't too popular, since that's all pretty much she does provide. So I'd consider this a niche option, but definitely worth the shots if you're trying to make Dolla shine her best. Now for our final character recommendation that'll work alongside Dolla would happen to be none other than N102. Now I found N102 to be a great option considering the fact that she is only an SR tier character and many of you should have her fully duped out. Now the great thing about N102 is that she increases maximum ammunition capacity and critical damage in her skill 1. Now the con about her burst 1 would have to be that you'd need to stats manipulate Dolla a ton to be the highest attack to receive this buff, which could definitely be a challenge, as of course you'll be running units that scale far better more in the attack stat. Now another reason why N102 is a great option would have to be because of her skill 2, which increases charge damage to the ally with the highest HP. So as we can see here, by impaired memory, it affects 1 ally with the highest HP and increases their charge damage by a certain percentage. So yet again, you need to stat manipulate Dolla to take full advantage of N102's skill 2 as well as her skill 1, but I would say the skill 2 here isn't too hard to stat manipulate, as of course you could toss Dolla a wisdom cube. Now outside of the characters that we mentioned, of course you'd want to prioritize a strong burst 1 like Litter that'll increase all allies attack, and then you'll want to opt in for some mid-range firepower, preferably in the burst 3 slots if you're trying out a team composition that'll consist of most of the allies as we mentioned previously. Now in which I'd suggest a unit like Prioritization, as Maxwell's burst doesn't work too well. So that'll pretty much do it for our first unit spotlight here on the channel, everyone, featuring Dolla of course. Now make sure to let me know in the comment section below if you guys did find this video enjoyable, as well as be sure to let me know if you guys would like me to do more of these, and of course let me know your opinion on the unit synergies, if you would like me to just focus allies that would work meta wise or stick to unit suggestions that would make our featured character be placed in the spotlight and deal the most damage as possible. But before you go everyone, make sure to leave a like on this video, as well as be sure to subscribe to the channel, and of course if you haven't yet done so already, be sure to check out channel memberships down below if you're interested in further supporting the channel, as well as the links to my Twitter account, Twitch channel, and of course a Discord server down there also. But with all of that being said, I'll catch you all in the next Nikke Spotlight video. As always, thank you all so much for watching.